Hello teachers. Now I've got here in my hand a text, and this is a text about a mystery character that you may or may not be familiar with. We're going to find out, because what I'm going to do is read you the text and you've got to try and identify this mystery character. Simple as that, alright? Are you ready? Okay. I'm a cartoon character from last century. You might remember me. During my lifetime, I was as familiar to American 6-year-olds as Mickey Mouse. I was a US icon. You would have seen me everywhere, in shops and bars and newspapers and magazines, in the street, on the sides of buildings. I wore sunglasses, a big smile and an oversized nose. Cool and confident, sporty and sophisticated, a smooth character with an exciting lifestyle. I was everybody's friend. I discriminated against no one. No matter who you were, I would welcome you into my life, pull you in. I was 100% reliable, always there when you needed me. I was the perfect friend, or so you thought. But in 1997, everything changed. At the height of my fame and success, I was retired. So who am I? Who was I? Now, it's very possible that you don't know this cartoon character. He was around in the USA between 1987 and 1997, and perhaps you weren't even born then. But it doesn't matter. There's still a key question. Why would you retire a cartoon character at the height of his fame and success? That's the question, you see. Maybe you thought this was Snoopy the dog or Top Cat, but then there's another element here. There's that slightly sinister part. He would welcome you into his life, pull you in. He was the perfect friend, or so you thought. That's kind of sinister, and I don't think that would apply to the likes of Snoopy or Top Cat. So who was this character? I actually remember seeing him in 1994 when I was in Chicago. I remember seeing him around, but I don't think I realised just how controversial he was. Let me introduce you, or reintroduce you, to Joe Camel. Now, in the 1980s, tobacco manufacturer R.J. Reynolds had a big problem. Their brand of cigarettes, Camel, was regarded as an old man cigarette. And if you're in the business of producing products that kill people, I suppose this is not ideal, is it? So Joe Camel was their attempt to capture new markets, and my God, he worked. By the early 90s, Joe Camel had become an incredibly controversial character. It was alleged that R.J. Reynolds was using Joe Camel to target children and underage smokers. In 1991, the Journal of the American Medical Association showed that by the age of 6, nearly as many children could recognise that Joe Camel was associated with cigarettes as they could recognise that the Disney Channel logo was associated with Mickey Mouse. And in a lawsuit that year against R.J. Reynolds, it was alleged that Joe Camel advertisements had caused Camel cigarette sales to teenagers to rise from $6 million in 1988 to $476 million in 1992. And that's why in 1997, at the height of Joe Camel's fame and success, R.J. Reynolds gave in to public pressure and retired their advertising mascot. I have a friend called Jono who was a smoker for years, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody struggle as much as him to give up cigarettes. And finally, after 20 years, he's done it. But he must have given up, or tried to give up, dozens and dozens of times. It was a real demon for him. And there's something that Jono once said to me. He said, smoking is a really crazy thing. At the end of the day, you go out onto your balcony and you light up that cigarette, and you feel like that cigarette is, and these were his exact words, your little friend. But he said, they're not your little friend. They're not your friend at all. They will kill you. And there's one Joe Camel image that makes me think about this. This is the perfect image of a tobacco manufacturer trying to sell their product as that little friend. Is this one right here? This was a huge mural that covered the sides of these two buildings that you can see. I've seen this image online a few times, and I think this is Joe Camel at his most harmful. Imagine kids being exposed to that every day that lived around this neighborhood. Anyway, in 1996, just 1 year before Joe Camel was retired, another character emerged. This one was very similar to Joe Camel, but he was much less cool. He wasn't confident, he wasn't sophisticated, he was more regretful, and he was also losing his hair. He wasn't Joe Camel, he was Joe Chemo. And in this image, probably the most famous one, you can see Joe Chemo sitting upright in a hospital bed, looking down regretfully at those iconic sunglasses that he's holding in his hand. Joe Chemo was developed as an anti-smoking character by psychology professor Scott Plous after his father nearly died from smoking. And according to the Joe Chemo website, although Joe Chemo may seem like a joke, there's nothing funny about chemotherapy. So unfortunately, I don't think that Joe Chemo is with us any longer. So that's the story of Joe Camel, and well, thank you very much for watching, and well, I guess don't smoke, obvious, no? Bye bye.